Hello and welcome to the Full-Time Creator Podcast, where you'll get wisdom, tips, and inspiration from creators building their dream businesses. I'm your host, Zach Swinehart. Today, I'm talking to Bryan McAnulty from Heights Platform, which is the all-in-one AI-powered online course and community creation software that empowers thousands of creators in more than 100 countries to build knowledge businesses. He has been in the entrepreneurial world since 2009. We've got a cool background here. He founded a digital product design studio, developing products and websites used by millions worldwide, which stemmed from an early obsession with graphic design programs and Legos. And he is also a designer, developer, musician, and truly creator at heart. You can tell I'm reading this bio thing off. With a passion for discovery, Bryan has traveled to more than 30 countries and 100 plus cities, meeting creators along the way. Where I know him from is the Creators Adventure podcast, which if you haven't listened to that yet, some of the guests from Full-Time Creator have been on the Creators Adventure, and Bryan is an awesome host. I love the questions he asks, so you can check that out. And he runs the Creator Climb community, which is a community of over 7,000 creators that includes a free course called T-30 that teaches you everything you need to launch an online course in less than 30 days, which is a real nice segue because I'm going to be starting by asking Bryan what the big mistakes are that course creators make. And I have a feeling that that whole Creator Climb T-30 thing is a nice little teed up question. So Bryan, welcome, number one. Number two, what do you reckon the big mistakes are that course creators make?
Thanks for having me, Zach. So we're in a unique position because we get to see thousands of creators and what they're building on our platform. And the thing that was shocking to me as the biggest mistake we're seeing creators make is simply that they fail to actually launch their product. And so that can mean two things. That can mean that they literally never hit publish and get it out there. And it could also mean that they kind of publish something, but then they never tell anybody about it. And the reason that I say that I think that is the biggest mistake is because we can point to an example of a creator earning six figures who has horrible branding, horrible product, or horrible marketing. And as long as you get one of those things right, then you can build a six-figure business. And so I can give you an example of, we had this one creator where he has this business, and I think it was in his first year, he earned six figures on Heights. And he would ask us a lot of questions in support, and he was very engaged with us. But we go in and take a look at his program, and he never bothered to even change the branding or the colors or anything like that. So it's like the default green Heights color scheme. It has the Heights logo. He didn't even upload the logo.
It even had the Heights logo.
Yes, he didn't even upload the logo. And he's made six figures with his business. And he wasn't misleadingly saying that it's from Heights or anything, but it's he just didn't care about the branding part. And we'd let him know, hey, if you want to make everything look better, you could go right here. You could adjust some colors and things like that. And it just wasn't that important to him. And I think it's such a great contrast because a lot of people are really perfectionists, and you see them want to tweak that color to get it exactly right and all this kind of thing. And I know as a designer myself, that's how I started, wanting to perfect every single little thing. And it's difficult to become comfortable with releasing something that you feel is not quite perfect. But I feel that it's really an important message to share that creators have found success with having just one of those things. So maybe you've perfected the product and it's great, but you're worried oh, I'm not good at marketing, my brand is nothing. You can still be successful because people will see the real love and care you put into that product. And so in this case, the person I was telling the story about, they have the marketing down. They didn't have the branding. Maybe they had the product down actually too. I think their product, it was in a different language. So I couldn't read it to tell you for sure if it was the product or marketing on their end. But yeah, as long as you got one of those things and you launch, then you can build a successful business.
So let's suppose somebody has the product quality. Let's say that's their one thing. Because I feel like you and I were chatting in the pre-interview that, I've launched over the past 5 or 6 years, I feel like I've launched maybe 3 SaaS products that were all so amazingly awesome. And the story with each one is I conceptualize what I believe to be a dope product. I build the MVP for what I believe to be a dope product. And then it just flops because I don't really get it in front of anybody because I'm not in a position to say, okay, I'm going to actually have this be my thing. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to launch a podcast about it. I'm going to write about it. So let's say there's somebody who, and obviously the thing is, when you don't have users, you don't actually know if you have a dope product. You just have a product that you think seems dope. So let's say somebody is in that category where they have a really cool course, or at least they believe it's cool, and they probably validate it with like, a couple people they've manually added to it. And those people said, this is so awesome. It changed my life and my business, and I got results from it. Let's say that's our baseline. What do you think the path for that person? Because they've technically launched. They have a course, it can be taken, but they are obsessing over something or other. Maybe the design, or maybe reshooting lessons, even though they don't have students, whatever. Like, what do you think for that type of person? And this is me making the assumption that that's the biggest category of person. So you're the one with more, you're more immersed in more course creators. So I'm guessing about this. If you think I'm wrong, tell me. But yeah, for that
Sure.
type of person, what do you reckon? What would
Yeah,
you
so
advise to them?
that's a great question. Let's start at the beginning and like building that product and trying to figure out like does anybody even care, or even if I'm starting to think it has potential to be great, like is it actually great? And so like courses versus software. I personally love building software. I've built Heights platform, but software I think is much harder to build than courses because there are many more pieces. It can take a lot more time, a lot more money. And then I think it also takes more effort to grow at the same time. Whereas courses, like it's built around like a personal brand more from the start, and there's not really money that you have to invest into creating it. It's just the time of putting everything together. So that's one of the reasons why I really like course businesses. I think they have very high potential to leverage your income in a much shorter time than most businesses out there.
Hmm.
So when you're building this course product, and you mentioned like somebody saying like them having a couple reviews of people saying, "Oh, this changed my life." Most people, I think that if they are at that point, like I would consider that they've launched.
Hmm.
But most people are not yet having those testimonials. And another mistake people make is they build the whole entire thing without really getting enough feedback. And I think it's important to, even if you don't have the audience yet, like try to get any feedback you can along the way. A lot of course creators are worried saying like, oh, this is going to be like a passive income thing. I don't want to have to talk to anybody. And I think that's the wrong approach or way to look at it. And like people will say like, I don't want to put my phone number on my site. I don't want to put like a live chat or something like this. But like a live chat, especially, I think is really great to put early on, because even though like a year or so from now, you don't want to be sitting there all day long doing live chat messages to customers. In the beginning, if somebody reaches out to you and has some questions, like this is the best thing that can happen because you can find out pretty quickly. They start saying like, "Oh, well, I'm kind of interested in your course, but I didn't know about like this. Is it going to teach me this thing or that thing?" And you can use those questions as feedback to learn like, "Oh, I actually didn't mention this clearly like on my website or in my marketing copy, whatever it is." And so that's really invaluable early on, taking that and then going to the next level. And now when you get somebody actually in the course, then understanding like, are they getting it? Like, is there anything that's missing that they have questions about that you realize you didn't actually cover? And it's just a continuous cycle of iterating it and improving that. And once you've got that feedback, you've got somebody that says like, wow, this has changed my life. This has got me exactly to where I've wanted to go. Then you can take that and use that as social proof to go and share with people. So don't be afraid to use that example to tell everybody like, hey, look what I was able to do for this person. And just sharing it directly. You don't even have to say, look what I was able to do. Just share the testimonial directly. And it's a way for you don't have to prove yourself then and like feel like you're all hyping yourself up. You can just share the testimonial of what happened, And that can be enough sometimes to get more people interested.
Nice. And little ADHD side note tangent. On Barb McGrath's site, she has this little thing in the corner where she's like waving for a live chat. Is that a Heights live chat, or is this just a different live chat?
No, so we don't have like a built-in live chat
Okay.
ourselves. You can embed any live chat on your Heights website. Yeah, she is a Heights customer, and she yeah, I don't know if like I wouldn't say like we instructed her to do that, but I think she's doing a great job to have that kind of thing there. And so like for me early on, I did the same thing in my businesses, had like a phone number, had a live chat, that kind of thing. And like now wouldn't want to get on the phone with somebody whenever they randomly call. And like somebody's would have to schedule something with me now, but early on, it's so powerful and so valuable. And even if somebody has something bad to say, like it's useful. So
Yeah.
in my web design days, people would be so worried about like launching their website. And we would tell our clients, well, we want to launch your website like a little bit before the actual launch day to get it to start to be indexed by Google, because a lot of people would try to find it from Google, not actually typing it in. And they'd always be so nervous. Oh, what if somebody sees it? Well, if somebody sees it, and then if somebody actually says something about it, then they might point out something that we didn't think to adjust or fix that they could actually notice. So it's really actually look at it as a good thing rather than being worried about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really enjoyed that. I've come to appreciate it more as I've stepped into course creator, like in a real way versus just kind of in that prep way where you're making this tool. Something that I feel, I don't know if you could relate as a developer, designer, course creator. Uh, I notice I have this motivation with SaaS, with courses, everything to make the perfect product that I just like, I make it and it gets perfect and now I never touch it again. And I already had the bubble popped for that with SaaS. I was like, oh no, nope. When you run a SaaS, your whole life is just bug fixes and feature requests. That's just your entire life. And I've come to appreciate that it is the same with courses. I think courses, like, you don't have to update some gem or like JavaScript library, but the world changes. Like we've got AI, the course needs to be updated. You can re-engineer things to have quicker wins. People have different challenges, different needs and stuff. And I launched a community earlier this year, and like you're talking about here, having the one-on-one live with people who are getting stuck and having challenges implementing the stuff makes me appreciate that this whole concept of passive income is kind of BS, because you're always needing to grow it and work, and that is the work. And you don't just create this thing and walk away. And so I really love, even though I don't want people to call me on my phone, I'll maybe do the live chat thing, because I love this, like this live, direct, raw feedback thing for honing the product. That's awesome. So a route that I'll take this in, because something that I think is really cool about Heights, and it's the topic for today's episode, is the way that you guys are doing AI that, to my knowledge, nobody else in the space, not Kajabi, not Thinkific, not other competitor name, I can't think of who the other ones are, but no one else is doing AI in the way that you are. And when I was skimming the AI feature, I thought that it was going to be something like, hey, we can, write a bullet point outline of your video. But when you and I were chatting, I learned that I, number one, should have done more research on the AI part instead of skipping it. And two, that it's very, very, very cool. So I want to talk about your AI features as they relate to this big not launching challenge. But first, let's have you, for the audience, like just tell us what these AI features are. I really want to dig into the coach one as it pertains to the not launching thing. But maybe before we do that, just tell us about these two big AI things you guys are doing at Heights, and then I can steer it into the tactical stuff.
Sure. So in Heights, there's two main AI features that we have, and it's Heights AI Chat and Heights AI Coach. And the way that we look at it is most course creators out there are solopreneurs. You're just working by yourself. And most solopreneurs, the first two people that you'd want to hire is maybe like a virtual assistant to help with maintenance, help set things up, and then a coach to help you with that strategy and growth in the future. And so Heights AI Chat is acting as that assistant and Heights AI Coach is your coach. So we look at it as using AI to kind of construct this virtual team for you. And what I mean by that is Heights AI chat can do things like answer questions about how to use Heights, so like a support chat type thing. But it is also able to answer questions about things like marketing ideas and things like this, where we've trained it actually on all of our team's knowledge and information, both about how to use Heights and the marketing. But where it gets really cool is it can also make edits to products for you. So you don't even have to learn the interface. Like software nowadays is really complicated. There's all these things that it can do. And I think it's really great for the non-technical creator when you say like, I'm really good at this thing. I want to make an online course about it. I am not really good with the tech. Heights AI Chat can actually help you do that. Let's say you have a guitar course. You can say, set my guitar course to published, have it launch in 30 days, and then make the price $199. And then Heights AI Chat will type back and it'll say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Does that sound good? And you just click OK, and then it goes and makes those updates for you. And so you don't have to, you could ask it like, well, where do I find the setting to adjust the launch date? And it can tell you, but you can also have it actually make that adjustment for you.
And I assume, surely there's no way that it could like actually do the content administration yet. Like you couldn't say, hey, I uploaded this video to YouTube. Can you put it in my course? Presumably we're not there yet. That would be
Not
too
yet,
crazy.
but
Okay.
we're getting there. I think a few years from now, AI will be doing all that kind of thing. Right now, it can do like a course outline for you. So you give it your title, it will give you a curriculum outline of the modules and lessons. It'll write out a description, and it'll actually review the title as well and make suggestions of how you might improve it, like put it better to a specific niche or make the result more clear. And then it can also do things like review like the SEO on your landing pages and things like that for landing pages you built inside Heights. But it can't yet, like we're specifically not having it like write all the lessons for you or things like that, because really the value that a creator provides, like it's from their unique message and the community that they're creating and everything around that. And that really can't be replaced by AI, because if you went to like ChatGPT and said, make me a lesson about X, and then somebody else does that, then it's the same content. Like there's no value in that. And so remember, like also a good tip to share is many course creators get worried, and we get emails like all the time of somebody saying like, oh, is this too competitive? Like I wanted to make a course about this, but is there other people making a course about this? And the reality is that it's a great thing if you have competition, because it means that there is a good market for it. And unlike selling like a widget on Amazon or something like that, with a course, like literally nobody can sell the same product that you have, because your unique experiences and all that, like your course is really your own. It's not like just this rebranded widget or something that you're selling online.
Yeah. I feel like in the age of AI, in some ways it feels threatening. As a course creator, I think mostly around content volume, because volume is becoming so much easier and stuff. But I feel like it's going to be, this is my bet, the value of a creator's individual experience and like curated, individualized opinion is going to go up as there's more saturation of just regurgitation of the more stuff. What are your thoughts on how this is going to change?
Yeah, I agree with that. We've done a lot of thinking about this as we've been building with AI, and it's been kind of a roller coaster of imagining what can happen in the next few years. And I'm sure many creators have thought about that themselves. And I think like we're in a great industry, actually, that course creation and everything is here to stay. It's not something that's going to be automated away. But I do agree that AI is going to rapidly change how much we can create content and how much content is out there. And so most people, I think, look at AI kind of like the wrong way in general, where they go to something like ChatGPT and they treat it like a Google search or like a source of information. But you'll notice like every once in a while, people talk about, oh, the AI is wrong, and it actually didn't say the right thing. And the way that I think is really the best use of AI is using it as a tool to make decisions. And this is something that there was no alternative to it in the past. It was just like you as a human, you had to do that. Now there is a way that you can outsource part of your decision-making process to this entity that is not actually a person. And so like an example of that is thinking of the tasks and things that you have and giving context to AI about those and then having it assist you. So to break that down, like the best way that AI will work is when you give it the information and say like, how can we resynthesize this in a way that will be useful to me rather than saying like, generate a lesson for me or give me the answer
Yeah.
to this thing. So you're not using the knowledge that the AI already has in its training, but you're giving it your information about your specific tasks or guidelines and having it work for you. And so, like a prompt I created for myself that I'm experimenting with is for a video review process where you give it a transcript of the video and then you give it the things that you want to know about of that video of like, I think I was talking about the ways that it maintains engagement and the like different techniques that it uses in order to do that. And what I did is I gave it a very popular video. Like I gave it a video from Alex Hormozy that I knew had tons and tons of views. And I went through the prompts and asked it to give ratings to each of those things, like a 1 out of 10 rating. And so like it has this instruction of criteria of how it's supposed to work. It gives those ratings. And then now I can put in like my own script of my own video and see like, well, how's that going to rate compared to that? And
Mm.
it didn't rate as well. But what's useful is now I can use that as a benchmark. So imagine like now this is like essentially a teammate you could look at. Now I've got somebody that can review every one of my video scripts and tell me how it compares to a popular video. So
Super sick.
that kind of thing is what I think is the best way to actually think of approaching to use AI.
So I want to, so, okay. So I'm going to add a preface for you, Bryan, and for the listeners. So we didn't talk in the pre-interview about what the features are of the Heights coach thing. So I don't want to like feel like I'm putting you on the spot with the AI thing, but I'm excited about the Heights coach and the Heights AI stuff. So I'm just going to like ask you all these edge cases. I think it'd be so cool. And if the answer is
Sure.
no, I'm sorry that I teed you up for a no answer. But with
No
the
worries.
prompt you were just describing, was that in ChatGPT, or is there a way that if I have my videos in Heights, because when you're describing Heights coach to me, which for you, the listener, I'll explain in a second because he didn't go as deep into that yet. But basically, Heights coach is an AI coach within the Heights platform that has the context of all of your content and the context of being a coach and remembers every single conversation you've ever had with it. My girlfriend and I have been playing with AI coaches lately, and that's been the biggest challenge is that they tell you they remember, but then if you actually ask them to tell you what you talked about, they actually don't remember. And they're just bullshitting you. But Heights coach does remember all this stuff. So, Bryan, if I uploaded a bunch of videos into my course in Heights with transcripts, something that I personally struggle with is that my courses get too verbose. And I want to get better at, instead of like teaching everyone everything they need to know, getting quick wins, teaching you only what you need to know to become successful and start getting momentum. I had Jasmine Jonte on a couple episodes ago, and she was speaking to that, and I thought it was really cool. So could I have Heights coach? Could I be like, yo, HC, look at all my videos and tell me like what you think I could cut to get people successful with objective faster? Like, could you do something like that?
Not right now,
Okay.
but that
Okay.
that is a great use case. So right now, the way that Heights AI Coach works is it is acting as like your growth partner. And
Okay.
so it's focused on more high level, like this is your goal for the next 30 days. Here's how I'm going to help you reach it. Rather than like kind of inspecting all of your content to like go through and improve it directly. But I do think that could be a big part of it. We're looking into like having either Heights AI chat or Heights AI coach have kind of like a lesson reviewer feature where they go in and
Mm,
like look through your lesson, look through your transcript like that, maybe suggest some like action items or things, or potentially break it down and say, hey, Zach, here's how you could break that into maybe 2 lessons or something. But what Heights AI coach does is it looks through all of your products that you've created inside Heights, as you said, and it has an initial like onboarding where you fill out a couple questions, talk about like your business model, like are you building coaching program, a community, courses, and then talk a little bit about some of the things that it wouldn't be able to know, like from Heights directly, like what's your social media following, what's your email list size, that kind of thing. And then going forward, once a week, the AI coach will ask you to have a quick chat session with it. This is for things like checking, like, is your goal still the same as it was last time? Do you have any like blockers? What have you done in the past week? And like, because that might also be some things outside of Heights platform. Like, let's say you've got this course in Heights platform, but you just started recording some new videos and you've recorded the videos, you got it done, but you haven't yet put those all into lessons. So like you would tell your AI coach about that kind of thing. And then every single week, what it will do is analyze all of that and then send you personalized tasks and recommendations that it thinks will help get you to whatever your goal is in that next time period. So if you wanted to launch your course, if you wanted to get a certain number of students, whatever that particular goal is for you as a creator. And where it's really powerful is it's able to, as you said, like remember all of these things as it's going. And so you'll actually get an email. And I think that's one of the coolest parts about it, that all of a sudden you wake up and there's this email of your coach giving you these recommendations of what you can work on for the next week. But it's actually AI. And we were talking in the pre-interview that I have a customer of ours we were talking with on just this past Friday, a couple days ago, about a product discovery call of how we could potentially improve the coach for them. They were really active with it, and we were excited to see that they're getting, I think, 70% towards their goal of $10,000 since they started working with a coach, which is incredible. But we got to the point of asking them the question. We said, hey, did you know that when you're working with Heights AI Coach, if there's something that it's not quite getting, or you want to maybe personalize it to understand something a little bit better about you, you can actually reach out to our team and then we can add some internal notes for your coach. And she goes and says, like, I thought you guys were already doing that because everything it says to me is like so on point and personal. And me and my teammate laughed because we haven't read a single thing of what the coach has said to her. So that was really glad to hear how it's working so well for her. But yeah, to wrap this up, I'll let you continue here with the questions. I started using the AI coach myself as well, because I built it. I was excited about like, well, how can I start to use it in my business? So we're building a new AI course ourselves right now, and I'm having the AI coach help me to go through that process of doing it with me.
It sounds very cool. Like I was telling you in the pre-interview that I am a big fan of like building my own course backends, but like I almost want to ditch all that just to get to use the AI coach. That's how cool it sounds. Does it, like what I'm wondering about is, as a developer, I'm wondering, does it, like, could it ever give recommendations that you wouldn't personally resonate with? Like how do you control against that?
That is a great question. So we do have some kind of moderation features in the background, and we do have feedback features related to the AI coach and the AI chat. And I would imagine it works kind of similar to what you see in like ChatGPT. You know how you have like the thumbs up and thumbs down? And so we have that as well. And whenever a thumbs down comes in, then that actually goes to our Slack, and our support team can read that and see if we can fix that. And we also see like things where the AI says like, oh, I can't help you with that, this kind of thing. And so the role of our support has actually shifted a little bit from like just answering emails to now like improving the AI
Mm.
to be able to work better for creators, and then recognizing when there's an issue and reaching out to creators to fix it. With the AI coach, I haven't seen it say anything that like we wouldn't really recommend. So like it is trained on our data and our content. And as you were saying before about like creators' content becoming more valuable in a way with AI, I think that's definitely the case. I wonder if there's almost a reality in the future where like people will like lock down their blogs and things like that and only have like a private like course or community because they don't want like bots to go and scrape it to use it in AI in the future.
Mm,
Like they want to keep it in their AI or like
yeah.
their program. But yeah, so it's not really been an issue in that sense. But if there is anything that like it ever isn't understanding, then yeah, a creator can reach out to us, and then we have the ability as a team to like interface with the AI coach and leave some notes for it to change it a little bit for that particular creator.
Cool. So the opus of what I wanted to steer this whole thing towards with the coach thing is if somebody is making that mistake you outlined at the beginning. So I've been either sitting on an idea or I've been just like very slowly dragging my feet getting it together. And I got set up in Heights today with the Heights platform coach. And I was just like, hey, HC, tell me the fastest way to get to 10K a month with my course. Like, I want you to guide me there. Would HC, which by the way, Heights coach, this is me making it a friend name. Would HC tell me that I should be focusing on like marketing and list building first and to not even work on the course, or what would happen in that situation? I don't know if you like, basically what I'm getting at is, can the AI implementation within Heights solve the biggest problem you see of people not actually launching? Does it help with that?
Um, yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think it's not quite old enough for us to know for sure. Like this is the before and after. It launched in August, and so it's only a few months old at this point. But it will do things like that, and I can't give you like the exact answer of how it would react because it is going to be based on everything that you said. So, like in the beginning, you're going to tell it like, this is my audience size, this is my social media following. It's going to look at like if you have students in Heights right now, it's going to look at like, have you sold online before? And then it's going to take all those kind of things to generate that information for you. So everybody's going to get a little bit of a different response, even if everybody said like, my same goal is I want to make $10,000 as soon as possible. But yeah, I would imagine that it would focus, like, let's say that you go and tell it, like, I haven't built the course yet, like, but I just want to go and do this. I imagine it would tell you to really focus on growing that audience.
Okay, cool. So I guess I'll ask you. I'll ask. No, I was gonna call you BM, but then I remembered bowel movement, so I won't say BM. I'm gonna ask Bryan instead of HC. So you've got, I think it's at creatorclimb.com. Yeah, Creator Climb is the course for launching your own course in less than 30 days. So in your mind, since you have obviously launched product-based business yourself, you see a lot of course creators. If somebody wants to, like, I guess let's say the case study of that one who launched a six-figure course within their first year, or maybe something less aspirational, but just like if somebody wants to get to 10K a month in the most efficient way possible, what in your mind, from what you've seen working, is the sequential step-by-step hierarchy of prioritization that is like the most efficient way to get there? Obviously, this is a very big question, but I'm curious what you think.
Yeah. Yeah, we could spend a couple hours just to like unpack and like digest how we can structure that exactly. Like that's a whole course. So,
Yeah.
what I would say is it does involve audience building. Like if that's what you were hinting at before, I wouldn't suggest like just go and build the product, ignore the audience, and then try to build the audience. You should be doing both things at once, working on growing your audience, working on building the product. And it is a really careful balance. And I think it's difficult for any entrepreneur, especially a solo entrepreneur, because you have to do both of those things. Like, when am I doing the marketing? When am I doing the product building? So, um, I think that you can see examples out there of creators who have gone, I guess, either way. The typical like course creator, I think, starts with less of the audience and more of the product. Whereas like somebody who maybe they're a YouTuber or something like that, or a streamer, they've got the audience first and then they think about making the product later. But you can see like from if you extract that to the extreme of like somebody who starts with let's say you started tomorrow and we just gave you the perfect product. Everything was finished. It was amazing. And then you start tomorrow, you have 1 million subscribers, and then we're just going to start building the product. The person with the giant audience would probably get the 10K per month much faster. But in the long run, I think the product is what drives like the long-term result. And we were
Mm.
talking earlier about the idea of like you wanting to perfect something and then like launch it, it's done, like the passive income. And we don't like the passive income way of looking at it. I like to call it leveraged income. And if you Google leveraged income, we're actually the number one result there for that. And that's the idea that the time that you put in is going to give you these outsized returns in the impact and income that you can create from that. And so when you build something that is a truly incredible product, now you have the word of mouth and everything where it can spread and grow in a way that I think it wouldn't be able to if you just had the big audience. And as a creator, I think it's really good to think more in that long term when you can. Like, of course, you've got to make enough money to continue on in your business, but realize that it's not this journey of, oh, I launched a product, that's it. Now it's either I'm a millionaire or I'm not. It is this constant refinement and improving of that product. Because if we go back to the earlier extreme, let's say we've got the person with millions of subscribers of their audience, and then the person with no audience but the great product. Now, if we extrapolate that with time instead, now let's say that the product that the person with a big audience built is really not that good. They'll make money in the beginning, but then what happens a few years from now when there's not really people telling their friends about it, and the people who are talking about it saying like, "Oh, it was okay. Like I went through it. It was kind of whatever," versus you having that perfect product where it took you longer to get people in there because you didn't have the audience, but then somebody goes, they take it and they say, "This completely changed my life. I have to tell everybody I know about this because this is something that everyone else should experience." And that has the potential to really grow and scale in that way. So both are important. Um, but yeah, I guess that may not give you the exact step by step, but that's how I would at least think about it from a mindset perspective.
I think it's a good framework. Do you think that, because if it were me, if it were me implementing this advice, I think where I'd struggle is that I think this advice could be like fuel for perfectionism, because there might be this pressure like, oh, if I launch it too early, then I'm burning this opportunity to have it be as good as it could be. So I guess that's kind of my question is how what I'm
Got it.
liking about what you're saying is that it's like simultaneously be building the course and be building your list and stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, I guess
so
like,
this is how you avoid being a perfectionist. And that is realizing that the feedback that you get will get you there so much faster. And so we talked about that a little bit before. I mentioned that we're building this new AI course right now. And like I built a course before, like I somewhat know what I'm doing. I really talk about this a lot, but still, like I don't want to rely on that and I don't want to make any assumptions. So what we did starting out is we came up with a couple title examples for this AI course. And then even like the title examples, like they weren't great. Like any one of them could have been improved already just from like what we already knew. But we took those and we figured like this is the rough idea. We then went to ChatGPT and said, "Hey, ChatGPT, which title is the best, and why?" And then we asked our audience and said, like, "Hey guys, what do you guys think about this? Do you guys agree with ChatGPT? What title is best, and like what would you guys want?" And even though like I should know and like do know about how to structure the course around the result and all of this, that feedback was so valuable to us because it brought up all these things that we didn't think about how our audience perceives like the meaning of certain titles, of what they actually care about more, of what they want to learn. And like all of these things, it would have taken so long to get there if we just said, I'm just going to put my head down and build. So if you see yourself as this perfectionist, I would say that the only way to be truly perfect with everything is to really start getting that feedback and taking some imperfect action, realizing that that's the path to making it perfect in the long run. And yeah, like you also get to a point that everyone's going to hit a crossroads that you'll realize like I have to make money in this business for me to keep doing it. And the bad way for that to happen is for you to spend all of your money, spend all of your time building this course, never telling anyone, never building that audience. Then you come to that realization and say like, oh, it's done. Like I just can't do it anymore, and you have to quit. And so I would hate for somebody to run into that situation. And that's why it's great to build that audience early and find something of value that you can do with them. Maybe the course, maybe you can't get out of this perfectionist thing. The course just isn't quite ready, but there's something you can go and do to provide value to your audience. So maybe you have a pre-launch and you charge a little bit for that pre-launch. Maybe you have some group coaching calls, a community, sell some digital products, whatever it is, to kind of even fund yourself to continue on that journey of the perfecting that product.
And I think Heights has a community thing built in. So could you, if you wanted to, if you were getting started with audience building and wanted to like launch your community in Heights as like a coaching first or coaching forward kind of thing and add like workshops as your air quotes course and then gradually refine that, presumably that would be a perfectly viable way to go. Is that right?
Yeah, I think a really good way to do it if you haven't built a course before is to start building up the audience, start creating some of the content for this course, validate that like they actually want to learn about that and understand like what their real pain points are. Then go and pitch an offer to them of like this pre-sale of what you want to offer for your course. I assume that like people listening to this podcast have heard about the idea of like pre-selling a course, so I won't get too much into that. But then when they join it, then however many people it is, it doesn't really matter. Maybe only one or two people actually join it. And some people would say like, oh, well, maybe does that mean it's a failure? Should I refund them? And it depends on your unique like goals. So if you were aiming for 1,000 and there's only one, and for some reason it's not a viable business for you, then maybe you refund them and stop. But you could also look at it as, okay, I've got these couple people. Now, instead of saying like, oh, well, it's not quite enough for maybe the community yet that I wanted to create, then think about how can you over deliver to them, and then turn that course as you're delivering it even into like a live training session or like group calls with these couple people who signed up. Take the recordings of those, and like that is your initial course now. Now you can go ahead and launch that. Maybe you realize there's a couple questions that you got kind of along the way. You could record some other content and add that to it. And now you've got the initial version of your course. Go and pitch that and use the testimonials you got from helping those couple people. And now just repeat the cycle. Hopefully you have a slightly bigger launch this next time because you've got some experience in doing it. And then after you've got that next launch, now you can think about, okay, I'm going to sit down and record everything and really put time into it versus putting all this time into it, recording all these episodes and lessons and editing them and everything. And then you go to upload them, and you go to release it, and you find out that actually you're not answering the right questions.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier, like validating that this is something they want to learn about, learning their pain points. Do you have a favorite way to do either of those things? Like, is it just a matter of seeing what questions they ask on the calls? Like, how do you like to determine what people even want to learn about? That'd, I guess, be my first one.
Yeah, that's a good question. So you have to, I think, kind of take what you want to teach. You don't want to just change like what you're teaching to be only about specifically what they want to learn. It should still be in line with like your expertise, of course. But then taking that and then understanding like what is the goal that somebody's trying to get to of that point A to point B, and making sure that your course can not only deliver that result, but makes it very clear that this is the result you can provide as well. And so I think just kind of asking people early on, like, what are they trying to do? And so an example that we've given a lot is like, You have a photography course, and you could have a thing that teaches somebody how to become a better photographer. And that is interesting, but that's probably not going to get very many sales because why would somebody want to take that? Nobody just wants to learn to be a better photographer. There's a reason that they want to learn it. And so if you instead sold a course that said, here's how to get your first photography client in 30 days, now it's this really concrete result that has this tangible value because if somebody taking that, they first of all know that that's what they can potentially achieve. And then there's value to it because if they got a client, then they know that they would start making money versus the course that just says learn photography. They don't know if that's what it's going to give them. And so being really clear on that result and then building an audience and a tribe of people that are looking for that same thing, I think is also important.
And I'm wondering if you could, like, for anyone who joins Heights as a newbie, if you could prescribe one like marketing habit or audience building habit that everyone would do, like I'm a big fan of lead measures, so I can't necessarily say, hey, I'll get 1,000 new subscribers this month, but I can say I'm going to spend 10 hours a week writing, or I'm going to spend 10 hours a week shooting YouTube videos or whatever. I can control those things. So when you think about the habits that your most successful course creators have, especially around audience growth and stuff, like if somebody could spend 10 hours or 15 or 20 or whatever, like where would you want to see people spending time building habits?
That's a good question. I think the most important part is that they do it. And the biggest pitfall is that there's this grass is always greener phenomenon of, oh, somebody said that like Twitter is the place to be. Somebody said that YouTube is the place to be. And you try jumping around, doing a little bit of everything, and you don't really commit to anything specific. And I would say that you have to find what resonates best with you and what you enjoy and then just focus on that thing. And so if you love writing, then work on writing. So that could be through blog posts, it could be through like Twitter or X. If you enjoy making videos and you've been making videos, then try YouTube, try streaming on social media and making reels and TikToks, that kind of thing, and figure out like what is best for you. So that I think is the biggest point, and then making a habit of doing that. So for me, like I also try to work on taking those things and then how can I make it easy for myself to do them? And video is one in particular where it can be much harder than like writing. Writing, at least everybody knows you can sit down, you can try to write something, but with video, you've got to set up a camera, you've got to set up lights, a microphone, you got to export the video onto your computer, all kinds of different things, right? So with video, my goal is to make it as easy as possible for myself. So what I've done is like I have the camera set up on my desk, the lights are attached to the desk, the camera's plugged into the computer, and I can just sit down, hit record.
Yeah.
The files go into Dropbox, they go to my editor right away. And so whatever it is, that thing that you choose to want to build a habit with, you want to make it easy so you can't create excuses for yourself. Because even if you say like, oh, well, I only have a tripod and one light, it'll only take 15 minutes to set up. That 15 minutes could be the yes or no of you actually doing it or just saying, oh, I don't really feel like it today.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so with you. Like I have several clients who when they do video, they go to the studio. And like I wish you could see, I'm in a tiny little Estonian apartment. So like I have 3 lights strapped to my desk and my background, like I can barely scoot my chair back, but it's so nice because I can have really nice video that it's just my regular ass computer. And I find that so easy to just roll up and shoot. So I'm totally with you. Okay, so this is Zach as of like 5 minutes later. Bryan and I were like chatting about Tallinn, Estonia for a minute, and I didn't feel like that whole meandering thing needed to be on the recording. So Bryan was talking about making it easy to create content. And something I really liked that you were saying, Bryan, is the sticking to a platform, not having grass be greener on the other side. This is something that I can 100% relate to. I feel like it's one of my biggest like self-sabotaging habits, that I don't stick with something that isn't producing results for long enough for it to actually produce results. And like, I think podcasting is a good example of that. Starting a new podcast when you're just fresh, like, no one's listening to it. You got to get it out there. You got to keep doing it, but then you build momentum. So in your mind, what's the threshold for how long to be doing a platform, whether you're podcasting, YouTube, social, whatever? And I know social, the whole thing is you can get traction faster, but you don't really own your audience as much. But I guess that's a whole other combo. But if you were giving a rule of thumb and you say, okay, make a habit, post, don't stop. How do you decide when it actually isn't working? Like, how long do you go without getting results that you're like, maybe I should actually change? How do you make that decision?
Yeah, what I would say is if I'm going to go into something in business like this, I would want to commit to it for at least a year. And I think though that the answer is different for everybody. And like it's different also between like your business itself versus a social media platform versus all these other things. But for me, I really want to commit to it for a long period of time. And the way I want to look at it is I don't care what the result is that I get in the beginning. So it could be absolutely nothing. And I think a good way to frame your mindset around this is that you want to be doing something today that you would still be doing it tomorrow, regardless of the outcome from it today. So just because it's something that you enjoy doing, it's something that you can see yourself doing going forward. And so for me, I'm glad and fortunate that I've been able to structure my business in that way. I would be doing the exact same thing tomorrow if nothing happened today at all. Um, this is what I love to do. And so you want to be able to find that for yourself. In the case of something like social media, you have to kind of decide like, okay, well, should I adjust this? Should I keep going? And unless there's something maybe that really shows you for some reason like this isn't for me, I want to try something different, like I want to try the writing instead of the video, then I would say you really should keep at it because like so you said you saw our podcast that barely had anything until like almost at the year mark is when it started to finally get some attention.
Mm.
And with our blog, we write blog posts every single week. And the first like almost year of that, basically nothing. But as we continue with all of that, the all of this kind of stuff on the internet really can grow exponentially. And it's really difficult to see the results of that early on and believe that it can happen. But I want to tell you that it is possible and it will happen if you continue at working on it.
I love this approach. So in your mind, it's not results, it's like resonance. So this has been fun for me to experience this myself. Like I am a good writer, like I can say that without sounding cocky or whatever, but I don't actually really enjoy it. I've learned that the reason I enjoy video the most is because I can just conceptualize the thing, make my bullet points and just spit at the camera, and then someone else can edit it. Whereas writing, like the process of actually editing it and refining my words, I just don't like it. And then podcasting, I love it. I love distilling all of your decade of wisdom or 15 years of business wisdom into like a framework. I think that's so fun. And so it seems like in your mind, the process of finding your platform is experimenting with which one you enjoy producing the most, and then just commit to it, stick with it, and go into it expecting a year of crickets. And if you get better results than that, great. But a year of crickets, stick to it if you like it. And that's kind of how you decide. Am I understanding that right?
Yep. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Cool. So I guess to bring all this to a close, uh, tell me a little bit about this T-30 course, because I'm guessing that if someone wants to get into your ecosystem, we can obviously go to heightsplatform.com. And even if I'm a beginner, I can start chatting with the coach and get that accountability and get going. Yeah.
Yeah, you exactly got it. So it used to be before the AI features, I would have told you, hey, if this all sounds cool to you, but you're not quite ready to create your course, you can go to Creator Climb. We've got a community there, we've got content, and you can start learning. But now, really, you can do either because inside the Heights platform itself, we have a 30-day free trial. There's no credit card required. And you can start working with your AI coach. You can start asking Heights AI chat some questions about marketing and growth, and like ask it about business models, ask it about uh, how long your lesson should be, how you should structure different things, all this kind of thing. And you can start to learn all of that even if you're not quite ready to build.
Awesome. And then the T-30 course will give me like, it's just a more direct course to kind of walk me through the framework for launching and stuff. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So that is right now. So that is part of Creator Climb. That is actually, if you want to start with that, it is $199. But with our Pro Plan at Heights platform, we give it to you for free. And so also
Cool.
if you bought it and then you go and upgrade to the Pro Plan like a month later, we'll refund you or credit you or anything like that. With Heights, like our goal is not to go and sell you the content. It's to empower our creators to learn as much as possible so that way they can be Heights customers for longer. So we want you guys to succeed, and we're not trying to just sell you the courses ourselves, I guess.
Yeah. And that definitely comes through. Something Bryan was telling me in the pre-interview was talking about like how the ideal Heights customer versus like Kajabi or Thinkific or whatever, it's the course creator who really cares about their customers and really wants to build like a good business where they care more so than like the marketer customers. So like Thinkific, Kajabi, they focus more on the marketing. Heights is focused more on the people, which I really love. And like the fact that your big AI push is not how can we have it so that you can create a piece of crap course ASAP and market it. And that's what AI is for. But it's instead for like, how can we help you be the best course creator to help your customers best? Like, I think that speaks volumes. But just on that note of not being a marketer, classic marketer rule, give somebody one CTA, right? So if somebody wants to get in the educational Bryan sphere, do you think they should go to Heights or do you think they should go to creatorclimb.com?
I'd say start with creatorclimb.com. There's over 7,000 creators in there now. And you can also see our podcast in there as well, The Creator's Adventure.
Cool. And to steal a question from one of your guests, Zach Spuckler, what would you do? And I actually think I heard it on a Creator's Adventure episode. He asked this question to everyone. So I'm going to ask you, and you've technically had time to prepare. What would you do if you were 10 times braver?
Braver?
Braver.
It's
a really hard one. I had to think about it for like 2 days.
I remember that he asked this now. Let's think. I think that I would, I guess like my gut reaction is I would probably promote Heights more and be telling more people about it. I suffer from some of the same things I've talked about during this conversation here, that I love building the product. I could sit all day and just build and improve the product.
Yeah.
But you have to get it out there. And so I would push myself more to tell everybody, hey, you guys got to sign up for Heights right now, and really make more of that what I'm doing.
And by the way, hey guys, you got to sign up for Heights right now. Heightsplatform.com. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Do you want to, like, if somebody wants to learn from you, creatorclimb.com, best place. Which social platform? I have all of your links here. Which one are you most active on, if any?
I've been reading on X recently a little bit, but I'm still not really active there. I don't really use social media myself. But what I am doing to create now myself is YouTube. So Heights platform at YouTube. You can check us out there. And I am going to be releasing a series of videos related to the new course that we're building, if you want to kind of follow along that process and learn how we're doing it.
And if I am in your list at creatorclimb.com, I assume you'll send it out on there. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Well, this was great, Bryan. I'm going to hit stop. We will not hang up. Riverside, we have to remember this. But for you, the listener, goodbye, Bryan. Pretend goodbye, but not really. Goodbye. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks, Zach.
What a great episode, eh? Here are my favorite moments and top 3 takeaways from the interview. Takeaway number 1. The biggest thing that stops course creators from being successful is perfectionism and not actually launching. A lot of course creators put a lot of time into building the perfect course, but then never actually get it into the hands of people. And so in the interview, he talks about different ways and different ratios for how to basically make sure you have a good enough course, but also make sure you prioritize marketing. One thing that I thought was kind of interesting there is that in his mind, having a really good course is more important than having a crappy course that you market really, really well. He thinks that a good course long-term is going to make a bigger impact than a really well-marketed course that's not very good, which is nice. It's refreshing to hear. But it's about finding that line and making sure you are still building an audience alongside a nice course. Takeaway number 2, the value you provide as a course creator is your unique message and your community. We talked a good amount about AI in the interview, and in his mind, the best use of AI is not to replace your content. It's to essentially allow you to work in your zone of genius more. And as AI develops and more people are using AI to regurgitate more of the same content, he and I both believe that the unique voice and experience of you is going to become more and more important. Takeaway number 3, with any new organic marketing channel, so blogging, podcasting, even social media, his kind of rule of thumb, or the rule of thumb I'm developing based on what he said, is expect a year of like no results before actually seeing like that exponential growth curve up. He said with both his podcast and his blog, each of them, it wasn't until he'd been doing them for about a year that he started really actually get traction. And I know that for me, it's all too easy to start something, do it for a couple of months, not get the results that I want, be like, oh, this doesn't work, I should do something else. And lining that up to his outlook of like, just find the platform that works for you in the way that you like to produce content, and then just stick with it for at least a year. Lining those up, I think, is a really nice framework. You can find the video, transcript, highlights, and links from today's episode at ftcreator.com/episode 10. That's one word, episode number 10. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a good review. I would really appreciate it, and it helps me make more great content like this. Alrighty, thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.